Hello, history enthusiasts, and welcome to History Love, the channel where the past comes alive. Here, we dive deep into the fascinating stories, pivotal events, and remarkable figures that have shaped our world. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we journey through time and bring history to life. The Lewis and Clark Expedition. Act 1. The Call to Adventure. In the early 1800s, the United States was a young and restless nation, eager to stretch its legs and explore what lay beyond its borders. The spark for one of history's most legendary adventures came from none other than President Thomas Jefferson. On a cold January day in 1803, Jefferson sent Congress a secret message. It was a plea for $2,500, which, adjusted for inflation, might just buy you a modest used car today, to fund an expedition up the Missouri River. The mission? To make friends with native tribes, expand the fur trade, and track down the fabled Northwest Passage, the water route to the Pacific Ocean that mapmakers swore existed somewhere out there. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But then came the Louisiana Purchase, the deal of the century. For just $27 million, Jefferson snagged 828,000 square miles of French territory from Napoleon, who was likely muttering, "Good riddance," as he pocketed the cash. Now Jefferson needed someone to check out his shiny new backyard. Who better than his trusted secretary, Meriwether Lewis, a man with an eye for adventure and a penchant for botany, zoology, and celestial navigation? After all, if you're going to map uncharted land, you'd better know your stars from your shrubbery. Lewis, in preparation, headed to Philadelphia to brush up on science, medicine, and other useful skills. He even bought a Newfoundland dog named Seaman for $20, who would become the expedition's loyal mascot. Armed with knowledge, weapons from Harper's Ferry, and a brand new 55-foot keelboat, Lewis needed a partner, and not just any partner. Enter William Clark, an old military buddy and expert cartographer. Together, they were the peanut butter and jelly of exploration teams. Sure, the War Department technically put Lewis in charge, but the duo agreed to call each other Captain to keep the peace. Clark gathered a team of rugged, rowdy frontiersmen and drilled them through the winter at Camp River du Bois in Illinois. It was a lively crew, complete with sharpshooters, hunters, and even a man who could out-paddle anyone on the Mississippi. With their keelboat loaded with provisions, including a collapsible iron-framed boat that Lewis designed himself, which didn't exactly work as planned but made for a great campfire story later, the team set off on May 14, 1804. Act 2. Trials and Triumphs. Over the next 2.5 years, from St. Louis to the Pacific Ocean and back, the Corps of Discovery covered nearly 8,000 miles, traveling 10 to 20 miles a day. Poling, pushing, and pulling their 10-ton keelboat and 2 pirogues up the Missouri River was no small feat. Near Great Falls, Montana, Lewis' much-anticipated iron-framed boat was assembled and covered with skins, only to be abandoned when it leaked like a sieve and no pitch could be found to seal it. Despite setbacks, the captains and several others diligently kept journals, documenting their findings. Jefferson had tasked Lewis with charting latitude and longitude, cataloging soil and climate conditions, and identifying new plants and animals. Lewis didn't disappoint, noting 178 new plants, including bitterroot and ponderosa pine, and 122 new animals, such as grizzly bears and prairie dogs. The expedition's diet was equally epic: 1 buffalo, 2 elk, or 4 deer a day, supplemented by roots, berries, and fish. They even named geographic locations after themselves, their peers, loved ones, and, of course, Seaman the dog, hence, Seaman's Creek. The crew endured their fair share of hardships: dysentery, boils, tick bites, and injuries from prickly pear cacti. But miraculously, only one man perished. A primary goal of the expedition was diplomacy with Native American tribes. The Corps held councils with military parades, handed out peace medals, flags, and gifts, and demonstrated Lewis' airgun to wide-eyed audiences. Many tribes offered food, shelter, and guides, though not all encounters were peaceful. The Lakota, for instance, already had British trading ties and were wary of American competition. A standoff nearly turned violent but was diffused by Chief Black Buffalo's diplomacy. Wintering at Fort Mandan near present-day Bismarck, North Dakota, the team prepared artifacts, specimens, and reports to send back to Jefferson. In April 1805, a small crew headed downriver to St. Louis with these treasures, including live magpies and a prairie dog, while the main party pressed on in 6 canoes and 2 pirogues. Their ranks now included Toussaint Charbonneau, his Shoshone wife Sacagawea, and their infant son Jean-Baptiste. Act 3. The Climb to the Pacific. In June 1805, the expedition reached a fork in the river. Unsure which branch to follow, they sent reconnaissance parties up both forks. Despite opposition from the crew, the captains chose the South Fork, later proven correct when they arrived at the Great Falls. Navigating around the falls required an arduous 18-mile portage through rugged terrain, prickly pear cacti, and hailstorms. On July 4, 1805, the team celebrated their progress with the last of their 120 gallons of alcohol and danced into the night. It was a fitting tribute to an adventure that was as grueling as it was groundbreaking. As they approached the Continental Divide, Sacagawea recognized landmarks from her youth, including Beaverhead Rock. This recognition proved invaluable as they encountered her brother Kamiwait, leader of the Shoshone, who provided the Corps with much-needed horses. Guided by the Shoshone and their elderly guide Old Toby, the expedition braved the frigid Bitterroot Mountains. Clark lamented the bitter cold and his inadequate moccasins, but their determination saw them through. Emerging onto the White Prairie, they were welcomed by the Nez Perce, who provided food and assistance. With newly carved canoes, the Corps floated down the Clearwater, Snake, and Columbia rivers, finally reaching the Pacific Ocean in November 1805. Clark captured the moment in his journal, "Ocean in View." Oh, the joy! Fierce storms delayed their progress, and the team endured a wet and miserable winter at Fort Clatsop near present-day Astoria, Oregon. They spent their days writing journals, drying meat, and even visiting a beached whale. In a remarkable democratic moment, every member of the expedition, including Sacagawea and York, voted on where to spend the winter. Act 4. The Journey Home and Legacy. On March 23, 1806, the Corps began their journey home, heading back up the Columbia River. They retrieved their horses from the Nez Perce and waited for the mountain snow to melt. In July, the expedition split into smaller groups to explore additional routes. Clark followed the Yellowstone River, carving his name into Pompey's Pillar, named after Sacagawea's son. Meanwhile, Lewis' group encountered a hostile band of Blackfeet, resulting in a deadly skirmish before they rejoined the main party. By September 23, 1806, the Corps of Discovery triumphantly returned to St. Louis. They were celebrated as heroes, their journals offering a treasure trove of geographic, scientific, and cultural knowledge. Congress rewarded the team with land and double pay, and Jefferson appointed Lewis governor of the Upper Louisiana Territory while Clark became an Indian agent. The expedition's total cost of $38,000 was a small price to pay for its enduring impact. Though not the first non-indigenous explorers of the West, Lewis and Clark's legacy looms large. Their maps, journals, and discoveries laid the groundwork for future expansion, even as their mission foreshadowed the displacement of native cultures. The journey has been commemorated in countless ways, through monuments, trails, and even a 3,700-mile National Historic Trail. Their adventure was not just a trek across a continent but a bold step into the unknown, a testament to human curiosity and resilience. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the past. Until next time, keep the love for history alive.